Books of the Prophets. Daniel 5. Belshazzar's Feast.
Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's son. Belshazzar the king made a great feast for thousands of his lords, and drank wine in the presence of thousands. While he tasted the wine, Belshazzar gave the command to bring the gold and the silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple which he had been in Jerusalem, and that the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. Then they brought the gold vessels and that they had been taken from the temple of the house of God, and which had been in Jerusalem, and the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. Talking about Solomon's temple. In that same hour, the finger of a man's hand appeared and wrote opposite the lampstands on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace, and the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then king's conscience changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his hips were loosened, and his knees knocked against each other. The king cried aloud to bring in astrologers, to chaldrons, to soothsayers. The king spoke, saying to the wise men of Babylon, "Whoever reads his writings and tells me its interpretation shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around his neck, and he shall be the third ruler of the kingdom." Now all the king's wise men came, but they could not read the writing or make known the king's interpretation. Then the king's Belshazzar was greatly troubled, and his conscience was changed, and his lords were astonished. The queen, because of the words of the kings, his lords, came to the banquet hall. The queen spoke, saying, "O king, live forever. Do not let our thoughts trouble you, nor let your consciousness change. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy God. In the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of gods, were found in him. The king Nebuchadnezzar, your father the king, made him chief of the magicians, astrologers, chaldrons, and soothsayers, inasmuch as an excellent spirit, knowledge and understanding, interpretations, dreams, solving riddles, and explaining enigmas were found in this Daniel, in whom the king named Belshazzar. And now let Daniel be called, and he will give the interpretation."